All right, guys, we are back. Performance Matters podcast. Matrixx, of course, Myles joins in the studio. First off, if you are on Spotify, if you're on Apple, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. We actually have a pretty good following, and we're always looking to add more to the community. So do us a small favor and join the Cool Kid Club and subscribe to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and of course, follow along on YouTube. Whatever your favorite platform of choice is for streaming these episodes. That way you guys get weekly rants, raves, and revelations pretty much on the regular as we approach the summer season. So first up, this episode is brought to you by Iron Performance Center, the premier strength conditioning facility in the Niagara region. Make sure you guys check out the website, www.ironperformance.ca. The environment's electric right now, especially as we ramp up towards the summer. A lot of our guys and girls are back from university or college or pro, and they're getting ready to get after it. So it's electric time of year. Sun's getting nicer, and of course, the weather's getting better. And bars are warm, and the games are hot. So you know where to find us. So on this episode, we're chopping things up. Couple things to note. IPC is turning 8. April 27th, I think, is the official grand opening anniversary. And then we're having a little get-together, a little party on May 2nd. From 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. Event is free to attend. It's just a big community thing. Love to see all of our people out there. There'll be food, refreshments. So it'll be a good time to just kind of catch up with everybody. If you could do us a favor, we sent out email notifications. It's also on Instagram. RSVP, we are trying to finalize how much food to get. So if you guys could do us a small favor of RSVPing, if you're coming to the event, we'd love to see you. And of course, make sure you're well fed. So again,
can't have any hungry meatheads buzzing around.
Yeah, we don't want that. The last thing I want to do is have people like, can you imagine like having an event and there's like not enough food? I don't know if I've ever actually, no, I have had that. I have had
Not
that.
here.
No, not here. No, I was at
But the one time you had to order pizza because I think somebody didn't show up or something.
Yeah.
Caterer.
The caterer didn't show up that one.
Yeah, shout out Pizza Jerry's for saving that event there.
Yeah, that was a big shout out to Pizza Jerry. That was a squat tour event. I think someone, I don't know if it was like the barbecue place, something, but
you ordered it and they
didn't show up.
They fumbled the date or something.
Yeah. They didn't show up. So we had to like do call an audible at the end there.
Yeah.
We've been to a couple events where we didn't have enough food. Ironically, one was a wedding, and that was terrible. They didn't have enough food. You show up, and all of a sudden you're starving, and you're like, "Oh God, this was terrible." But so we don't want that to happen. So make sure you RSVP so we can just get a good estimate of how much food to get for you guys. And of course, big shout out to, was it chili and agave?
Yeah, chili and agave.
Nice. Mexican food. So big shout out to chili and agave for providing the food for our 8th anniversary party. We'll get together. So yes, RSVP to that. Very important. And then the last thing I want to talk about, a couple of shout outs to all of our Rapids and of course NAVC teams. They're navigating the OVAs, the Ontario Provincials. I just want to say, great job on a hell of a season, hell of a run. I think there was a lot of great moments. If nothing else, the work ethic of the process to get to this point. You train like what, 6-7 months of the year?
Yeah.
Like we worked on.
Was that a 6-7, Joe?
Oh God. Don't even pull that shit. What is with that? Like that's
anyway.
Yeah, I don't know where the 6-7 thing is. That ever going to die?
I'm going to say it's 7 months. It is 7. Yeah, from October till now, 7 months.
7 months. Yeah, so it's been a process the entire time, and there's always highs and lows, ups and downs. But I think they need to be proud of the work they put in. Like I think that's the thing we always talk about too. It's going to be that process being honed over time. So this is their chance to go out there and find out the truth, right? And it's never going to be perfect. That's just kind of how sports are. But it's encouraging to see that they had, the mindset to push through and overcome and refine all these little micro checkpoints along the way to be as prepared as possible for their moment, right? I think that's actually a funny point to bring up too. Like, would you, looking back now on how the season went, particularly for, let's say, the teams that, we're in charge of, would you do anything differently?
As far as the programming?
Sure. Programming, coaching, learning the personalities. Was there anything you do differently?
I guess humbly I'll say no. My gut reaction is no. I might come back to this later tonight when I'm reflecting back, but no, because I think the process was sound. I think the programming was solid. I think the way we try to set the expectations and uphold them is reasonable and realistic amongst the teams. Like, the one team I was talking to last week, I was like, yeah, OVAs is exciting. That's a big tournament this weekend, but don't let it be more than what it is, right? I was like, don't be excited for it, but don't let it be overwhelming. Don't let the moment get bigger than, at the end of the day, it's just another volleyball game, right? Because I say that because a lot of them get so wound up tight. This is the biggest tournament of the year other than if you're going to nationals. Yeah, but the problem is oftentimes you get into that mode, you start trying to act different and do things you haven't done, like eating different. All of a sudden, you're trying to do different plays. Like everyone's trying to play hero ball. I'm like, guys, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your systems. And I said, thankfully, our systems are pretty damn good, right? The guys seem to kind of respond to that. So my gut reaction is no, I really wouldn't change much. I think we always, as a staff, try to prioritize athletes first, knowing their names, knowing their kind of personal background stories, treating them like humans primarily. Obviously, I'm pretty confident in the programs that we all collaborate on and the implementation of them. So gut reaction, I don't really think I would change much. I'm curious, after you answer, I might kind of change my tune, but.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of things went well. The things I think, looking back, that I would maybe change, I think keeping perspective, like the OVAs, I would argue it's bigger than nationals for a lot of them, because again, national, not everyone will go.
Yeah,
so you might have some of your best teams might literally not go.
Yeah.
Right. But the best of the province will always be there.
Right.
I think, OVA is the one tournament of the year. It's the biggest. And it's also like 3 days in a row. So they're playing like 6 to 9, at least 6, maybe like 9 games of volleyball in 3 days, right? That's a lot. So I think trying to prepare them for that thing, which they don't really get to do pretty much a lot during the year. Like you'll have like your weekend tournaments, but it's never like 3-day tournament.
Yeah.
So they don't really have a lot of exposure to that kind of demand. I think the programming from at least my groups, I think it was sound. Like it matched up with the points I was trying to make. And the athletes are putting the intent behind the, execution of the program. Like we plan the work, and the groups that, put intent, they really worked the plan to the best of their ability, which I was very happy with. I think the only thing I might change, kind of reflecting back, I think some 17Us and 18Us, because like we're going based on like the age division, and I think like the average of that age division, there's too many outliers.
Yeah.
For, I think, if you want to call it advanced techniques or advanced execution, which I would argue it's not, but I think just the proficiency first, I think I would have spent a little bit longer time. I don't think it would have changed, honestly, a lot of the exercises from the first. Looking back now, I probably wouldn't change anything for the first 12 weeks. I would have had the same program for the first 3 months.
Like October through to Christmas.
Yeah, pretty much. Just hammer fundamentals for 12 weeks. Now, again, this is more for the outliers. Like the average, because again, how we think about it is, okay, if they worked with you 15, 16U, and they get to me at 17, 18U, they should have a pretty solid lifting proficiency and performance proficiency, where we can really not have to worry too much about technique. You have the cues and everything else, kind of, sharpen some of the edges, but
it's not new for any of that.
It's not new. Like the fundamentals are there.
And Shockwaves being a perfect example.
Yeah. The boys team is the prime thing that I would base everything on.
Probably not too many kids on that team where you feel like you were starting from ground zero.
No, it was never like, the next part is like, that's kind of the point, right? Like I don't have to reinforce like the basics techniques or the fundamental techniques. It's kind of like, hey, like this is what we have to do. They know what that is. They know what it feels like. They know what's expected of that drill. So that's kind of like where I'd like them to get to. I think I made that assumption with another team too. And the other team had too many outliers where it's almost like it was microwaved a little bit too early for some of them. Now, saying that, it's hard to individualize that on the fly for a lot of them, because then you're like, okay, well, I can't leave my starters out, and the starters are usually pretty good. But I think it's like a 2-part thing we're trying to conquer. You're trying to accommodate this, but at the same time, the thing that's kind of leading to this is that, using the Shockwaves boys, for example, those guys have been like working together for like 3 or 4 years or so. So they're very familiar with each other, their capabilities, and with us. So they're very familiar with how to execute a lot of these things. So the other teams, although they're at that age group, at the A team and elite level, they haven't done some of these things before, and they also haven't worked with some of their teammates before. So it's kind of like, okay, some of them we've worked with and they kind of know, but there's also a good handful that don't. So they're kind of like, okay, do I pull back and accommodate more of the ones that don't, for, say, okay, at least we're all on the same page, but then the outliers might not get what they need, or at least the intent that we would hopefully need. And just weigh that out. Essentially, I think going back, looking at the way I looked at it, I think I would pull back and just hit the fundamentals for 12 weeks right through Christmas. Like I wouldn't change the plan too much, just a couple small variables, like maybe increase some density, because we have time leading up to Christmas. It's like really have a solid foundation, like really accumulate a lot of volume, a lot of work up to Christmas time. knowing that the drop off after Christmas time, like in terms of attendance and mindset and everything else is going to be a bit of a low, and then try to like just use the lower density, lower volume, but still high intent work to hopefully just capitalize on it a little bit more versus I think what we saw was sometimes technique went out the door and they just kind of went out to lunch. I think that's what I would consider for next time. But saying that, it might be a new team, might be the same team. Ideally, these girls play together, or guys play together 2 or 3 times, years together. I think with some, it was just, you're kind of putting all these different puzzle pieces together, but they don't really have a time to like settle in and learn more about each other and almost like read each other's minds. You know what I mean? So I think that's something I was considering looking back. Like, okay, if I had to do it again, that's probably the one thing I might change. Because again, we're planning, I think, for what most might succeed at in that particular instance. But we had, I would say, too many outliers that weren't ready for that. But it was under the assumption that they would be because of the level that they're playing at, and they weren't, essentially.
Yeah, sporting age versus training age versus biological age.
Yeah.
Try to mesh all those things together. I guess maybe one other consideration I might look into deeper is not only dividing by age group, but also sex. Because and nothing to do with their biology, just more so how the high school season coincides with
the high school season takes a lot.
Yeah, but the girls have a bigger overlap than the boys, right?
Yeah.
So like the boys playing early, finishing up much earlier, I found it always had like a less of an impact versus like right when they're to the thick of the club season, the girls' high school season is also ramping up. And I guess maybe I could probably pay a little bit better attention to that or make a little bit more adjustments for that, I guess, if I was being critical. The program already is pretty minimum effective dose because of their age and their I get biological and training age, but just something I'm kind of kicking around at as we're sitting here now.
Yeah. The high school season for boys, I think it's like September to November.
Yeah.
I think so girls like November till January. So they really are.
The girls
like
have a much tougher time there. Yeah. So
they're in the thick of it. But I think it also, we talked to coaches about this too, at least for volleyball. It's kind of like, I think there has to be, and it sounds bad, but there has to be like a decision made.
Yeah.
Like maybe you don't play high school volleyball.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you'll be part of the team, but like if you're looking to go to post-secondary and everything else like that, club is what's going to do that for you.
Yeah.
And high school should, if anything, enhance your club ability, not get in the way of it. And that's a hard conversation because every coach is going to want to squeeze every last drop out of you, as they should. If you're the high school volleyball coach, you want as many club players as you can because they're going to do some damage.
Yeah.
But it comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. I think athletes have to self-advocate a little bit and kind of like meet some middle ground with their coaches and be like, hey, it's my high school coach. Like, hey, I can practice this day, but like on these days I need to be ready to go for practice and this tonight. Like it's a lot of workload. Like it's a lot of workload. It's like 2 high school, two practices a day. With travel and sleep and school and everything else like that. It's tough. A lot of them aren't, prepared for that. So I think they have to have like some autonomy and a little bit of avocation for themselves and be like, hey, I can do this practice like this, but then if I'm going to attend these practices, I have to kind of know myself a little more and communicate with my coaches to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to be the best for this team, but also not take away from my other team, which the other team, unfortunately, is going to have to be priority number 1 because that's the one that is going to make you a better volleyball player. And that's nothing against high school. There's a lot of great high school teams that could. And I think now the conversation is going to be, well, if you're like a B team club player, high school might be your A team, right? Because now you're playing with club players,
right?
From the A team level. So that's now where things get a little tricky.
It is funny though, because really in no other sport do you see, like if you're playing like junior B or junior A hockey, you're really probably not playing high school hockey. Or maybe just games, but like not all the practices, not everything. Like, it's kind of funny how volleyball is different.
Yeah. It's a lot to navigate, a lot to manage. But I think it just comes down to good communication and accepting the answer.
Yeah.
Right. And then as the athletes, like if you're 16, 17, and you have post-secondary aspirations, you got to look and say, okay, which of these things is going to get me closer to the mark? And if you're like a B team player, same question, like which of these 2 things are going to be close to the mark? Because again, the high school team, if you're getting a lot of good reps at your high school practice and they're filled with A team players and you're on a B team, that might be your A team.
Yeah.
So that might be the one that gets you from high school to the A team next year. Who knows? So I think just looking back, reflecting on it all, I think it's just, seeing we saw now, like even like from the 50 new level, programs are sound, but it's crazy just the shift from like one 15U team to like the next 15U team, even the same stacks. Like
Also true, yeah.
15U team to 15U team, you're like, okay, you're both A teams.
Yeah.
But you're not executing like the same A team. And again, that's going to be individualized and, like archetypes and everything else. But just the level of like their training age is just, it's crazy the swing and just their proficiency.
Yeah.
Like that to me is always incredible to see. You're like, okay, you're both 15UA players or 15UA team here, A team here. But your proficiency in terms of like the other stuff is just huge swing. It's almost like that's C team level stuff and that's like B team level stuff, whatever it is. It's like, whoa, like the proficiency alone is just so drastic. So you're trying to like plan out for a team and you're like, Jesus, like this is good for this team. But all of a sudden this just goes out the window for this team. Cause you know what I mean? Like that team can go here, here, here. This team has to stay here and just get really good at this first.
Yeah.
And then you have that balancing act like, well, I want them to get here so we could peak for this, but we don't have anything to peak for right now. We have to just keep going through the weeds. Now it's a matter of like, okay, like how beat up are they going to be to navigate the weeds so they get ready for a big tournament or something that matters for rankings? You're like, holy smokes. So I can see where that kind of headaches kind of come in. But, I'm always reflecting on that and just thinking more about it, to be honest. But for the most part, I'm pretty proud. I think of all the work they did. I think the programs were sound. I think for the most part, execution was on point. They just have to understand the mindset of how you approach a lift or how you approach a training session.
Yeah.
I think they have to, and again, this isn't for all teams, but even some individual players within those teams, I think they have to look at training session as like a practice, like scouts are watching. Like
that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, take the same mindset you go towards in practice and apply it to training session. Ironically, if you have a subpar, I'll say a shitty attitude towards your training session, you're probably having those glimmers of shit in practice too.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you've seen that, but
I mean, like Robbie was talking about it last week on the podcast with. My question was like to him for any up and coming athlete. Like, oh my God, any up and coming athlete. Like, what is your main advice? And it was nothing technical. He just said, just appreciate how hard it is. Like the level you actually want to get to, like appreciate what it takes and how hard it is. So that's a problem I find sometimes with young athletes, especially at that age. A lot of them are kind of get the attitude of like, well, I'm already good at volleyball. Like, so like that's where some of this lackluster effort or attention to detail might come into the weight room. Like, yeah, I'm sure this is going to help me. Like, it's not that I don't believe in it, but I'm already doing pretty good. I think like that's the age where you need to have that attitude and the mindset what Robbie was talking about. Appreciate the level you want to get to, how hard it is and what it's going to take, and develop those habits now. So that when you get there, we've talked about in the past, when you get there, it's not a shock. It's not, it's just part of your routine. It's just second nature. It's one of your habits, right? He talked about every level he went up to. Oh, I lifted a lot of weights in high school. Okay, I get to Laurier. Well, everybody lifts a lot of weights. So now I'm playing against guys that are physically ready. I thought I was a hard worker at Laurier. I went to the pros. Well, everyone's a hard worker. Everyone's smart. Everyone's physical. Like, how am I going to set myself apart? So that goes to every sport. It doesn't matter, football, volleyball, whatever. I think that's a mindset kids have to get in now. Even if you never end up playing post-secondary, that's not the point because like those habits and attitudes will carry you through life anyways, right?
Yeah.
Through your studies, through your occupation, whatever it may be.
Well, it's just the difference. I think the OVAs is good for this. Now you have two routes that are essentially going to happen from a situation like this. So for example, use our Shockwaves boys. Those guys battled and they had a great weekend. They really worked hard. And they beat the team that ironically went on to win the whole thing. So on day one, they beat this team in 3 sets. And then on the last day, that team kept going and they happened to win the second time and go on to win the OVA championship, right? But on that one team, again, a Toronto-based team, they made our boys sometimes look like children. Not from a playing standpoint, just from eye test.
Yeah.
Right. So some of these guys in this team are like 6'5", like 200 pounds. Like they look like these are like, grade 10, grade 11 kids that look like they can just go into a liquor store and walk out. Like it's great. It's crazy. Like
jump right into a college game.
Yeah. It's crazy. The size, like difference, but that's like the eye test. I'm like, okay, like we look like children. We have to, I think that's a low hanging fruit for a lot of athletes is you see something like that. You're like, I have work to do. Like,
Yeah.
how am I going to, it's not, again, it's not always about just jumping high and everything else like that, but like, it's for them, it's gonna be like their swing speed. And also stopping blocks. Like if you have like a 200-pound guy, like winding up to just blast one, like you got to stop it.
Yeah.
That's a grown
It's
man.
a bullet, really.
Yeah. It's a bullet trying to kill you. So you got to pass the eye test, right? Because again, those guys are 200 pounds. Let's say you jump 15 inches, they jump 15 inches, but they're 200 pounds jumping 15 inches and
Yeah.
swinging a lot harder, right? All things equal. So you see something like that, okay, we have work to do. It's a very big low-hanging fruit. And I think this ties into a couple of things. The first is, I think volleyball players need to like kind of relate the size to the height and everything else. And I think they chase the right metrics. Like for example, they always want to jump higher and get faster. I think a lot of coaches say like, oh, we got to get faster. We need to be more, we need to like increase our speed, increase our jump height. But what does that look like? And I think this is where performance coaches and strength coaches will start rushing.
Yeah.
They will start introducing speed and power work pretty much right away, which can be fine, but hear me out on this. For example, let's take one of our post-secondary players, Charlotte. Awesome skill player, like phenomenal middle, starter, national bronze medalist, right? For her height, she's small, right? So naturally you want to jump higher, you want to move quicker. But she also acknowledges like, yeah, I'm small for my size, because you're going against like girls from Alberta who are like the same height, if not a little bit taller, who are like 30 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah.
Who can hit like they have
moving
30,
like you.
Yeah, moving like you, who
Yeah.
hit like they have 30 pounds on you.
Right.
So it's like, okay, and they probably maybe they jump the same height, even if they jumped a couple inches lower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you also have girls that are like that height, that size, that jump a couple inches higher. Like, okay, so
And that arm is a freaking cannon.
and the arm is a cannon. So it's like, I think we also have to understand that to increase your speed and your power, it's like it's capitalizing on that motor unit recruitment for the tissue you have, but you need more tissue.
You need more tissue. You
need more tissue to have.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like assuming all things equal, like let's say the technique's on point, and I'll say this for our club volleyball players. Let's say your technique is on point. You execute every speed drill, power drill, exercise, whatever, maximal intent with optimal proficiency. You're essentially asking your body to have Ferrari engine speed outputs while driving a Vespa.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can crank the throttle on a motor scooter as hard as you can, as fast as you can, as long as you can. It's still only going to get to like 60 kilometers an hour.
Right.
Right. Versus if you have a Ferrari engine, like you start to lightly push the gas pedal and then eventually you'll get to 60 and then it keeps going. So it's the same concept. They just need more of an engine. They need they need to spend some time building an engine, like add 20 pounds of mass. And that 20 pounds of lean mass is now going to have more innervation potential. And that potential can now be used to actually hammer a throttle.
Right.
Right. But I think that gets lost. I think we just rush into speed work and power work. It's especially on the off season. Why rush into that stuff? Why not spend more time building lean tissue? Like build something that you can transfer later. Like put in the work in the long game. I'm not saying completely neglect speed and power work. I will be peppering that in too.
But again, by definition, what is power?
Yeah, it's force over time. Like it's
exactly force apply quickly. Yeah. So if you can't apply force, then what does it matter?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're, you keep seeing all these posts about rate of force development and all this stuff, and it's like, yes, 100% that's valuable if you can actually develop a lot of force. Like if your ceiling is push higher. Like we're not trying to get these guys crazy strong for the sake of being strong. We're getting them strong so that strength is not the limiting factor when we actually try to apply it quickly, right?
Yeah, it has to be. I honestly think for like off seasons like this, like a block style is going to be good.
Yeah.
Spend time focusing on that quality that's going to build a big, like for me and like in Charlotte's example, I would honestly argue for a lot of volleyball players' example, because I think they're already jumping like 200-300 times a day, quick off the ground, everything else. Like that's still there.
Yeah.
But you're not having enough time to actually like get bigger in the best way possible, like build the engine, right? So it's like, okay, if you can, even if, okay, you want to say strength, okay, I don't know, let's say your squat goes up. Okay, your squat's like 100 kilos now. You drop that down to 60%, 80%, and now you have like 80 kilos moving faster. It's like, okay, well, you have a higher output, and even at a lower percentage, you're moving it faster. Like that's where the force equation is going to really work for you.
And that's exactly my point. You get it up to 100 max. Now she's moving 60 really fast. Probably in some regard going to be really valuable, really beneficial. If her max is like 40 or 50, and now she's like, look, I'm moving the empty bar really fast. Like there's no value there.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think people try to put the cart before the horse, and I get it, because like if coaches say we need to get faster, and you get quicker and more powerful, I think they just think, okay, we have to do ballistic work. We have to do everything fast, everything fast. Like that, but that's you hammering the throttle on a Vespa engine.
Yeah.
At some point, you just need to say, maybe we just need a bigger engine.
Right.
Like let's build a bigger engine, so then we can learn how to use the throttle and work on that. Because now your ceiling potential goes up. I think that gets rushed. because I think that's, but then you see it, right? You see it when you have like our guys go against these Toronto guys, and keep in mind too, like it's a bigger populated city. They can handpick.
Yeah.
They can handpick
Well,
these
natural selection going on.
these genetic freaks. But they pass the eye test. They jump the same. They move the same. Like these are like, 180 to 200 pound boys.
Yeah.
Who are moving like football people. They're quick. They're agile. They're cutting. They're reactive. They're doing things.
These are kids you send off the bus first, eh?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you see that and you're like,
yeah,
okay. Like, I think our guys are quick and powerful too.
Yeah.
Relative to their size.
Yeah.
Right. If their size gets bigger, okay, now it's a different story. But I think that's what I would do with a lot of them, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Because if nothing else, max versus operational output too.
Huge.
Even if you're already swinging the exact speed you need to swing at, if you were way stronger, more powerful, and you could swing way harder, those swings would be much easier. Like that, the wheels aren't going to fall off, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or at least not nearly as easily or as soon.
Yeah. I think if you compare, I think you take your top middles in the world for whatever age group, and it's okay, like what is their archetype? Like what's the average height? What's their average mass?
Yeah.
Right? What's their average jump and everything else like that? It's okay, at least now we have some benchmarks, and just like look at the contrasting difference between like middles like Cassie, Charlotte, and Lauren.
Yeah. Same position, but totally different.
Same position, but different archetypes, right? Even if like, let's say they're relatively the same height, 6'1", 6-ish.
Yeah.
They're all jumping around the same approach too.
Yeah.
We look at the difference, okay. So they're all touching, let's say 9'8", 9'9" on average. Cassie's got like 10 to 15 pounds on Charlotte. Lauren's got like 20 pounds or so on Charlotte. So it's like same position, relatively same height, relatively same approach jump, massively different archetype constraint, like just huge. So it's like, now the skill point, keep the skill out of it just to keep all things equal. Like,
well, skill's not our thing, so we don't care, but it's like,
But if you're looking to build like a middle, it's like, okay, well, if the middles you're competing against are like 170 pounds, 6'1", 6'2", for your age, we're walking around 150. Not saying you can't do some damage. You've been doing damage.
Yeah.
But imagine the potential you could be doing if you match the same mass.
And kudos to Charlotte for recognizing it and admitting it and looking to actually improve upon it.
Huge. Great attitude.
Yeah.
Great work ethic. Asking great questions. Like even today, like we bumped up her. I think she gained 4 pounds in a week.
Yeah.
4 pounds in a week. I think because she hopped on the scale and weighed 154 or something like that. Last week, she's like, "Oh, I'm up." I'm like, "Well, remind me again. What was it last week?" And she was like, "Oh, like 150 or 151." I was like, "Oh,
yeah."
I was like, "Okay." Unless there was like an error, but I don't think there was an error. So okay,
same scale at least.
Same scale.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Like I was on the force plates. We're testing all the jumps and everything else like that. Shout out Vold, by the way. Shout out Vold. All of our metrics come from Vold, so you guys get that one. But then she did her jumps 154. So okay, we'll test again tomorrow. And just see if the mass is around the same. Like she comes in tomorrow morning, same time. We'll test the mass again just to see. If it's the same, it's okay, great. Then like my goal is to get her to my goal was to get her to 160 like in 6 weeks or 7 weeks, but now I can probably cut that in half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And verified by the in-body too, which is nice.
Yeah.
So we can see what that actual number is being
assume everything's all relative to the same thing. So I can do that in like 3 weeks or so and then just do another test run and see where we're standing at. But that is going to be a big thing for like if she puts on 10 pounds and she can still jump the same height,
right?
You're like, okay, like you're moving more mass the same height. So naturally you're producing more force. Even say on our back squat, like she moved up from 55 kg with range.
Yeah.
Averaging about 0.4-ish meters per second.
Yeah. Near max, but not a max.
Yeah. 0.4 meters per second for a double. Now she hit 60. She hit 67, but I'll say like 65 for the speed range. She hit like 65 around the same. Like she hit 60 at like 0.55. So she already had 5 kilos and it was like 0.1 meters per second on average faster.
Yeah.
With range.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So
welcome to Iron Performance Center, Niagara's home for real personal and performance training. We're a community obsessed with building durable, explosive, game-ready humans. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just training that works. From athletes chasing scholarships, to pros chasing championships, to regular people who just want to feel strong, move well, and stay built for real life. If you're willing to work, you're our people. Our system is simple: smart programming, elite coaching, and a culture that pushes you to levels you didn't know you had. With modern technology and principles-based programming, we track your progress, teach you movement skills, and give you every tool you need to perform when it matters most in whatever arena you call home. Iron Performance Center, because performance matters.
That's the beauty of us using all the tech. It's not that it's doing the coaching for us, but it will help us validate. Like her jumps will go up or stay the same, but again, as her body weight goes up, we'll be able to see with the vault system, like power per body mass has improved.
Yep.
Obviously, okay, it should be pretty intuitive, I think, hopefully to the listeners. Same thing as with the Vitruve, you'll see her wattage on her squats, you'll see her weights and speeds, but you also see the range of motion.
Yeah.
So you can know as a coach confidently, like, yes, I'm just making up numbers. Last week she squatted 55 kilos, whatever you said, like 70 centimeters. Now this week she squatted 60 or 65, still 70 centimeters, right? A lot of time I think coaches out there, they don't have objective enough standards, right?
Yeah.
They don't film things, they don't use their eyes, they don't have any way of measuring these things. So it's like coaches will just be okay with technique changing. You know, somebody all of a sudden is squatting 3 inches higher, but like, oh, there's another 10 pounds on the bar. That's a whole different exercise now. Sorry to tell you,
Yeah.
right? I'm not saying it's not valuable, but it's not, it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one nice way we can use some of the tech like Vault, like Vitruve, and we can actually, you know, be pretty confident that we can truly claim that, yes, these developments are being made, right?
Yeah, it's taking some of the guesswork out, if nothing else. And I was telling Rowan this, shout out to Rowan, by the way, he's a fucking animal. He was working his ass off this last 10 days. Incredible, like incredible attitude. But we were talking, because again, I love when kids ask good questions.
Yeah.
So like he's looking at these numbers, and he's trying to like make sense of them. I'm like, explain it to him. I said, if nothing else, look at it this way. I said, we're trying to quantify something. We're using like 3 measures, if you want to call that, 3 measures to like kind of get close to the mark. We're putting a percentage on there, right? So that's why we're doing like your top sets are going to be heavier, and we could estimate, okay, it's probably this, right? This is probably the load at this percentage. Then you're using your feeling, like how did that feel? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how many more could you have gotten? You know, I'll give you I'll probably have 1 or 2 more. Okay. And then we're using speeds. Okay. Based on your subjective feedback, the prescribed intensity, the load that was on the bar, and the speed at which the bar was traveling, assuming all range was equal, here's likely the percent we're actually working at, right? So you're almost like just doing like a 3-stop check and say, okay, now we have a better idea of what is like our training max or training potential for the day,
right?
Using that number. And so the nice part is, as an athlete, if you're quantifying it in that regard, you can have a better subjective interpretation intrinsically of what speed you're traveling at. You can almost like start to call out your own numbers intrinsically and have an idea of what that feels like.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, I hit that felt a little slow. It felt like,
shit, it wasn't 0.4.
It felt like 0.4. You look at the box, oh yeah, 0.42. Like, okay, like you're more in tune with, you're more in tune with the proficiency of like what that exertion level feels like. So there's a lot of benefits. As coaches, obviously, it helps quantify a lot of things, but as athletes, it puts you you fine tune your ability to regulate yourself, really.
Yeah.
Right. Which is huge. So, saying all that, like that's, I guess that's a bit of a tangent, but that's one way of kind of looking at it. But point being is now we have some real data that we can kind of go and just keep using it as like checkpoints along the way. Right. So I think that, and again, if you want to go back to like the range thing, it's like, okay, put the pins on the bar, like put the pins on the rack and say, okay, we're going to start every time. You're going to start from the pins, blast up. You want to track propulsive velocity from the same range every time? Okay, well, bar is going to start in these pins. The height's the same. Like the bar has to go off the pins.
Yeah.
The range is going to be the same. So
unless you get taller between this week and next, we can guarantee it's pretty much friggin' apples to apples.
Yeah. Now we're going to compare apples to apples for real. Like the range is going to be the exact same. So that takes that factor out of it, really. But
yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, so I think I think kind of circling back to everything, I think coaches tend to microwave athletes too fast because they want the results instantaneously. But looking at like what it takes to actually produce force at faster rates, it's going to take, you have to have a sizable engine that can produce those rates, especially if you're already, like if you're a certain frame and you're already maximizing your speed, like you're doing, like I said, if you're doing all the drills with optimal efficiency at the hardest intent, that is like your ceiling for doing the skill you're asked to do. At some point, like you have to build a bigger engine to make it go faster.
At some point, you got to get off the hamster wheel and stop doing what everyone else is doing also, right?
Yeah. I think coaches treat them fragile.
Well, it's ironic because, it's kind of backwards because it's like when you're in high school, especially, is when you should be building the base of the pyramid as wide as possible. Mm. But you feel so much pressure to get recruited that you're just playing on different tournament teams all summer. You're playing beach all summer. I'm not saying beach isn't valuable or doesn't have carryover, but just in this volleyball context, a lot of kids will probably look to prioritize a lot of these camps, combines, beach season, just to get more touches, just to get better volleyball, get more exposure, more recruitment, instead of spending their time in here building up the base of that pyramid wider. And then you get, like you're mentioning, Charlotte in middle of her university career, like, man, this is what I need to do now. I really need to get in the weight room and really emphasize some of these qualities. But I don't blame the kids because that's what the pressure is, right? Like the more exposure, the better. I want to get recruited. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying the system is clearly broken because when you're in that high school age and you should really be spending those summers developing, you feel so much pressure to do all these, recruiting type things so that you can keep playing the game you want. But then when you get that opportunity, then you're like, well, shit, okay, now I really need to get in the weight room and emphasize some of these things I probably should have been emphasizing before, but I didn't have time or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's just a backwards role of development and then expression. You're just expressing.
Yeah.
You're capitalizing what you already have. You're not making your ceiling any higher. You're just hitting the head off the ceiling.
Right.
We have to spend some time, to pull the floor and then raise the ceiling as we go.
Right.
Again, there is a place to do both. Like you can do speed and power, like, a subsidiary of, let's say in this particular phase, like, hey, we're doing a lot of accumulation. Like, yeah, you can still do, like you're doing your skips, like you're doing some of your jumps and prep work. Like those, you're always getting like a little dose.
Yeah, like your extensive stuff, right?
But that's not the main meat and potatoes that we're trying to do. Like we're not going to chase those two rabbits and catch them both. We got to, let's go here first. And then this will help with us doing this next thing. It's like once we get like the tempos out of the way and go super maximal, it's like now your force ceiling has really gone up. Yeah. And now we can start to like do propulsive work. Now we're going to start tying all these pieces together. But you're right. It's very rushed.
Because there's a finite window.
Yeah.
If I don't get seen by enough scouts or coaches, if I don't expose myself to these universities frequently enough, I might miss that opportunity to get recruited. And then it's all for nothing. And then I won't even get to keep playing the game I love. So I got to do everything I can to keep playing the game I love. But ironically, if you want to do that, it probably starts with emphasizing actually the strength and conditioning aspect to complement, if you're, it's like some of the older guys will say the pros like finish a hockey season and take 2 or 3 weeks off the ice. When like, if you're in high school age, that would be like blasphemy. Like, oh my God, you want me to not skate for 3 weeks?
Scarlet letter.
We said to Phil Scrub, like he took a couple of weeks or a month or something off of playing basketball at one point. I'm like, jokingly, do you forget how to dribble? He's like, of course not. Yeah. If Johnny Curran takes like a 3 or 4 weeks off of skating, I'd be like, you forget how to skate? No, of course not. But guess what? That probably was great for your mentals, probably great for your body, your hips, your back, whatever, right? That's like, but to tell a kid that or tell a parent of a kid that is like, oh my God, it's like panic mode. Are you kidding me?
Do less hockey to get better at hockey?
Oh my God. Like I said, it's like blasphemy, right? Well, keeping up with the Joneses, like everyone else is at 14 power skating sessions a week and the skills and drills. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But do you want to be like everyone else? Like maybe you need to take a different path, right?
Yeah, just because is that what's really going to get them there? It's hard to quantify. But
yeah,
again, look at the eye test. It's like, look at any sport. Like I said, that one Ridley College basketball player, right? 5'10", he's touching like 11'2", whatever it is.
Yeah.
Runs like a fucking 2.64, 2.65, 20. He got recruited for football. He's only played like a couple months of summer, but he's like a basketball player. The whole point being is like football coaches for that guy were like, hey, we'll teach him the skill.
Yeah.
He has the athletic capabilities too.
If I can't teach that kid to ball, it's my fault.
Yeah. It's like he has the physical qualities that will make for a good player.
Yeah.
In this position. We'll teach him that.
Yeah.
Right? Versus the alternative is like, yeah, he might know all the skills. He just can't physically do it. It's like, well, fuck, you'd rather be the other guy. Right. I'd rather be so physically capable of doing everything and then I can hone in on something I'm good at. Right. Or be taught how to hone in on something. It's like if you're let's say you have a 6, well, look at anyone that recruits for volleyball. They see some kid that's like 6'2" in the hallway. They're like, you should play volleyball. I never played before. That's okay.
Why? We'll figure it out.
You're tall. We'll teach you. Okay, great. So why can't we do that? And like have that kind of mindset, like, hey, like we're going to build you to be an athletic, like a physically capable monster. Yeah. And then we'll figure out what to do with you.
Right.
Versus like, we'll teach this guy the skills who really has no physical potential to do anything.
That's what's cool about like the main premise of something like RBC Training Ground. Right. And I'm sure every country has these things, but whether or not it's perfect, I don't really know, but they'll put the kids through this combine and they'll say, okay, based on these metrics, like here's a sport you'd probably be good at.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like the Soviet Union style.
Yeah. I don't know if it's perfect, but it's a cool concept. It's pretty cool. And it makes sense. Like,
yeah, the RBC one's like, it's really cool. It's flawed because they usually try to funnel them in sports that need people.
Sure.
Like
as opposed to what you're good. Yeah, sure. It makes sense.
But yes, it can be.
On paper, it's a cool concept.
Yeah. The concept is really cool. But I think like having that mindset towards young athletes, like, hey, like we're just, they become so physically athletic and the capacity has to be so wide
Yeah.
that now we can plug and play and do these different sports because we can teach you the skills because you have the tools. You just have to read the manual.
You've kind of done the hard part.
Yeah.
The training is
read the
honestly,
manual.
it's harder, but
we'll teach you how to read the manual to use the tools. Like you're right there. You have all the tools, right? Versus the alternative, like I said, is you kind of show up with all the skills that you know in your head and how to execute them, but you just can't execute at the level necessary to actually have a positive outcome.
Right.
So I think it is a little backwards. I think parents and coaches have to understand that too. It's like develop, but then what does development mean? Like I think that word gets thrown out a lot, like around a lot. We got to develop them. We're all about development, but then at the same time, you go ahead and just kind of put the cart before the horse and start rushing these things. So what do you mean by development? let's kind of like be on the same page and take a deeper look here. What does development mean? Right? Like you have to account for the physical, tactical, the mental, the social, all those things. So it's like, okay, well, let's break apart those different puzzle pieces and dive down for this particular athlete or this age group or this team. Like, here's what ideal development would look like for this group, right? You could take one of our volleyball teams. It's like, okay, pretty good skilled players, right? They're skilled players, but the people you're competing against, they're kicking your ass. What do they have or what are they doing that's kicking your ass? Assuming it's not skill related for now. But if it's more skills, okay, well, they need more practice. But then you have to break it down and say, well,
more practice or better practice?
Better practice.
Right.
Right. So here's the rabbit hole you go down. So, okay, assuming they're beating with skills, well, they're just cleaner, they're more consistent. Okay, great. So is it the fact that you're not practicing at a fast enough speed with greater accuracy, or is it you physically can't do it faster with higher accuracy? Right. That's the question. And again, that's to quantify that's like near impossible. But those are questions you could ask. Okay, well, how do we tackle this one, that one? It's like, well, I think for first and foremost, knowing that you'll be playing teams that are going to be very consistent, very accurate, and physically capable, right? Like they're going to be very smooth with receiving a ball, and they can hit their passing is on point. So now their setters can set up their hitters. They're going to do that time and time again consistently, and their error window is going to be very small, right? And they're also going to push the pace on that. So it's like, well, we have to practice that pace that's going to match or exceed our opponents. So we have to be doing these drills once learned. We have to do them at faster paces with greater accuracy and more chaos induced. You have to kind of scale those dimmer dials to kind of pick the one we got to focus on. Like we have to introduce more chaos and still make it accurate and flow. Great. We tried doing that. Is it working? Why or why not? Is it because they don't understand the drill? Is it because they're just not tactically in tune with the drill, or they just physically can't do the drill? Okay, well, here's how we tackle this tactical area. We have to do more film, right? We have to slow down the drill. And then physically, we have to make sure we have the outputs to get to the position we have to get to in times of chaos to then execute the drill accurately. So I think people spend a lot of time like maybe doing a lot of gameplay, which is great. And again, there's things out of your control. Like they might, if you have a really stacked team of like, let's say 10 to 12 players, your top 6 will play, but even your back 6 can still, like your bench players, they're pushing the pace for your first stringers.
And they're going to get better because their first stringers are good.
Right? Yeah. You're making the bench players make the first stringers so much better because they practice as like take bench players from that team, they'd be starters on this team.
Yeah.
Right. But they're pushing their starters so hard that every practice is like their best tournament.
Yeah.
Right. So the question is like, well, do we have enough reserve players that can push our starters? Because if you can't emulate fast-paced game with that kind of physicality, how the hell are they going to handle that when they get to the show?
Right.
They've never been exposed to it, right? You're trying to make something that's foreign and familiar, and they can't if you're not practicing with that same intent, right? So there's a lot of like questions to ask, and there's a lot of things to dissect. And then you just try to find the most common theme among all those things and say, well, we're just not big enough. Like our guys are just not big enough. They're just not hitting these positions. And then try to like interpret that. Well, what does that look like for them? Is it that they need more film? They need more time practicing that particular, like receive the ball and pass it to here like 100 times, like basketball, to get 100 free throws before you leave the gym in a row, right? Is it that? Is it accuracy? Or is it a part of that can be their physical ability to actually do it? And then that's where we can come in and help. But there's a lot of questions that should be asked. I think this is important for athletes to reflect on this, and coaches. I think coaches have to reflect on these questions and say, if we lost, why did we lose? It's not good enough to say, well, just better. There's a bigger team, better team. Okay, well,
nobody grows from that.
What does that look? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Let's keep diving down the rabbit hole and like see if we can get to a more clear root issue, so we have something tangible that we can work on,
right?
Versus just, well, we just got to be better at this. Like, well, how do we get better now?
That's the what, but what about the how?
Yeah. How do we get better at this? Like, what does getting better at this look like? And is it possible this team? Like, if they're not the team to do it, then how do we get them there? So I think there just has to be a greater level of reflection, a deeper dive, like a more tangible dive into it, and have players understand that. Like, I think that's crucial. Have players understand what their next 4 months look like to get better for fall. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's important. Right? It might be both court work, might be gym work, might be everything, but give them something tangible they can sink their teeth into so they can actually pursue it versus kind of scratching their head, chasing all these different avenues and not knowing which one's working and not giving any of them enough time
Right.
to actually see if it is working. I think that's another thing too. Is like, well, I did this for 2 weeks, didn't work. This for 2 weeks. You're like, well, you didn't give enough time to actually get better at anything. Right?
Especially if you're on a team that doesn't go to nationals, like May, June, July, August, September, 5 months, you could change your life in 5 months.
Huge.
You could change the whole trajectory of your athletic career in 5 months if you do it properly.
Yeah.
Right? Keyword if.
Yeah. I think we've had athletes that, didn't do a summer with us, and all of a sudden they're back another summer because they realize, shit, this was working. I had to go back to what's working. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because work works. Because we have to be very specific with what we're chasing.
Right.
And trying to measure it to see if we're on the right track. We have to keep our finger on the pulse. Coaches do too, though. They have to keep their finger on the pulse. They can't be like, all right, this summer, go to open gyms, do all these things. That's not good. If you're in charge of your team and you have them next season, like dive headfirst into like keeping your finger on the pulse on all your players. And I get it because with volleyball, there's re-signs. You have to see first and foremost, are players coming back?
Yeah.
Are they going to assign to you? Are they going to check other teams out, do tryouts, all that kind of stuff? But once you have like a core group that are signed or say, no, I'm coming back, then dive headfirst into them. Even if they lie and say, well, yeah, I'm coming back, but they don't actually sign. They're just kind of like keeping their one foot out the door.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're going to lose them anyway.
Yeah.
You might as well treat them like they're staying with you and show them that, hey, this is how serious we're going to take this development over the summer and get ready for the next season. So that way we're as prepared as possible. Because like if I'm getting my ass kicked, I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to get better.
Yeah.
Here's what that looks like.
Because if you haven't done that, then how do you reflect after?
You don't. You just,
right?
you see, I played beach. I did this. And you're just like, well, how do you know you got better? Oh, I felt like I got better. Okay, well, what does felt like you got better look like? Okay, well, they don't know.
Yeah.
They just go back to the court. I'll practice. Oh, well, shit, I guess it's like the same old story all over again. You're just like, well.
But if you're the coach and you could say, okay, I'm just making up, I don't know, I'm making up numbers. 10 of my 12 girls trained, did the strength and conditioning stuff all summer. We had X number of gym sessions that like our attendance was like 90%. And like we really worked on all these things. You're probably going to have success. If you don't, at least you can reflect and say, okay, well then what do we have to change? But if you have like 1 or 2 girls working out all summer, never more than 5 girls showing up to the open gym sessions, like you're just chasing ghosts. You never really know how good it could have been because you didn't do the basic necessary things to actually improve upon your skills and your abilities.
Yeah, I think, and again, I think Rapids and NAVC in this area can do some tremendous things. They can do incredible things, but we have to recognize their limitations, right? We're not going to be Toronto. We don't have the population of Toronto, but we can be so good where we draw the best from just on the tip of the horseshoe, like Burlington, Smash, and Kitchener, and Hamilton. We can draw good players, but first and foremost, let's be good in our own backyard. Let's make this organization, this program, the best it can be, so it draws the attention. And naturally, it will on its own. If you become so good, they'll look at you. Right. Don't try to add all the bells and whistles. Just try to make what you have even better. Like make the experience for the players so tangible and such a great experience, like a high performing experience, so they know what good looks like. Right. So be very like, what if we just said all the coaches, okay, coaches, fantasy world, we're all going to be on the same page this summer, right? Starting in, let's say June, just for, school and everything. June, July, August. That's 12 weeks, 3 months. Here's what every athlete who's getting ready for the fall is going to be doing. We're going to be doing this open gym. These teams are scheduled this time, this time, this time. All the girls will be training this day, this day, this day, right? And we're going to run that. Here's what we'll be tracking every week. We're going to track this. And then see what happens by Labor Day. Track the attendance of every person that came through. Track all their workouts, track all their gym times, all the percentages in practice, right? Like we can do all the stuff in the weight room, track the attendance, track all the numbers. On court, the coaches can take averages and percentages, like all their serve receive, everything else, their attendance, and just take that and come back in the fall. And then when you go to tryouts, you can say, okay, here's what we're keeping our eye on. And then say, well, if this player had this problem last season and their attendance was like less than 50% all summer,
there are no surprises.
There are no surprises, right? We're probably going to get the same thing again in the fall.
Yeah.
Imagine if the whole organization just did that across every age group, across every level.
Yeah.
Imagine how like finger on the pulse that seems. Because now when they have to have hard conversation, you can say, well, here's your summer development that you didn't do.
Yeah. kind of takes the feelings out of it and the subjectivity out of it, right?
Yeah, well, it happens in university, right? Like every practice they film and do stats and they say, well, am I starting? No, in practice you got this. So this person beat you.
You're
out.
-1 2 out of 3 days this week.
Yeah.
sorry, or whatever.
Their on-court percentage
is.
service was like 8%. Yours was like 60. They're starting today.
Yeah.
So it's like it takes the emotion out of it. But again, it quantifies. I think athletes appreciate that. Again, good athletes want to be coached. Like I said earlier, look at the Charlottes. Look at the Rowans. Look at the Cassie Robinsons. Look at all my players. They ask so many good questions because they want the feedback. They want to understand. They're trying to use a scalpel to just be so precise with their training approach because that's what they need to get better. Like that gives them hope. That gives them intent. That gives them purpose to actually get better because now they know what they're working on and they know what to look for. And they get that process and become so much better from it. Right. But as coaches, we have to provide that. We have to provide the environment where they can do that versus just, okay, go to open gym. Yeah, we're doing this drill. This drill's very randomized, which I get that there's a time and place for that. But imagine if we did it a structured way and like had things to quantify along the way.
Yeah.
Not only would the organization have stats, have numbers, have feedback that's quantifiable, the players would see and experience what that kind of level looks like. And imagine the draw in from that. Like, oh, these fuckers take it seriously.
Yeah.
Yes, because we want to fucking win. Right? We're playing Moneyball while you guys are out there fucking hitting off the tee.
Yeah.
You know? I think that would be a huge jump. Like, hey, if you're on the A team, this is your summer. I get it. There's vacations, everything else. Like you have to account for the social factor and the family factor, but at the same time, that's what the best athletes are doing without being told to do that. They're not all going on vacation for a month and going to the cottage every weekend. It's like, if you're trying to improve, like you have to, like your summer's gonna be spent working.
Yeah.
Like legit working, like working a job and also working on yourself. Like that, you can't just say, well, it's summertime, I'm going on vacation all the time and rest. And like, yes, there's time to rest, relax, have fun, but it should not account for 25% of your entire summer. Right. Like we can't do that and expect to get better. It's like, you have to just have the mental fortitude and the discipline to sacrifice. We talked about this on many episodes. We say it all the time with teams. We got to sacrifice. It's a big buzzword in sports. You have to sacrifice, be disciplined.
Yeah.
This is also that.
Till you actually have to do it, then you go,
this is that. Like you had to sacrifice in season. Like you might have had to miss some birthdays. You might have to miss semi-formals, all this stuff. Or you say, no, I have to go to practice first, then go to semi-formal, right? If you weren't even doing it in season, it's going to be so much harder to do it not in season.
Yeah.
Right? So there has to be that understanding of like, if we're going to put this much time in developing you, it's a two-way street. You have to understand like what you're going to have to give up to get there. But that's what every good athlete has to do.
Yeah.
Like it's not unique. It's really not unique. And the best part is those athletes, no coach has to tell them to do that.
Right.
The best ones just do it because they intrinsically know what it's going to take and they do it. There's no surprises there. Right. So it's like, if you provide the environment and the transparency and the vision, the discipline, you're going to have more that might understand that versus relying on the few who might just get it on their own.
Right.
Essentially put a wider net out there. So anyone that's considering it, they understand what it takes and they themselves make the decision that this is for them. Because you might actually reach more athletes and say, oh, I can do that. All right. Then if that's the plan, then I will give up my cottage weekends. I will, not go on vacation for a month. Because now I realize like these guys are putting this in place for me. I got to do it.
Right.
And imagine that if they overcome that, great. Now they can do it again in season. Now they understand what that looks like.
Right.
So I think there's potential there. It just has to be reinforced and the environment has to be structured enough for them to actually get it. And I think that would make us more competitive. I think that would make us in Niagara way more competitive in the sport of volleyball. Like we have so many good athletes. Like there's a lot of potential. And then I hate when kids start trying to fence hop. Like, okay, you had a bad weekend. All right, I'm gonna look at this club. I don't want to stay because, my other teammates are leaving, so I got to leave. Because I get that too. Like you're wondering if I'm going to re-sign with the same team, but all of a sudden my other best players are leaving. Like, well, then what's
Who am I
left?
going to play beside?
Who am I going to play beside?
Yeah.
Totally understand that. But imagine, again, look at Tim DeVries. Shout out Tim DeVries. Amazing coach, amazing, partner in terms of his team. He really, really done a fantastic job with these boys. But again, these guys have been playing 3 or 4 years together. What kept them together?
Most of them since grade 6.
What kept them together?
Yeah.
They learn to read each other's minds. That's how in sync they are. They just learn to read each other's minds. They've been around each other. It's like Maverick and Goose, man. They just learn everything. They know what makes each other tick. That's what a good partner, a good team is. But they need the time to do that. So if you're always jumping ship, it's like, listen, what if you just be devil's advocate and say you had a bad weekend? It doesn't define your entire season. That you guys did some great things in the season together. Imagine if you just gave it another year of doing the same thing with the same people and you all had that structured development on plan and you all hammered together. Imagine what you guys could look like in the fall. You know what I mean? Like imagine how much sharper you could be come the fall,
Yeah.
right? Versus just always jumping ship. Because now you're going to have the same outcome with a different logo on your chest.
Same shit, new shirt.
That's all it is. So it's
Yeah.
like, what if we didn't? What if we just didn't? What if we had the same people coming back, right? With a different attitude? Like, imagine what we could do.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, right? They have to also believe in their coaching staff. They have to believe that the environment is catered to make them better.
Right.
And that's on us and on the sport coaches to do that. If sport coaches are truly serious about developing their athletes, dive headfirst in it and just give it your best. I know like it's a volunteer thing, but I think my message to sport coaches that are frustrated by the results from the championship. What if this summer you gave everything up to just be the best coach and kept your finger on the pulse of all your players? Assume they all come back. You assume you have the same players coming back. Even if it's like 5, 6, or 7 of them. Hammer everything with them this summer. Stay in touch with them. Organize gym times for them. Be there with them. Like give up your own summer just like you're asking them to give up their summer. And go there and be there. Imagine what that would look like. It's hard, but imagine if you did it that way. How much better they might be in the fall. Imagine the steps they could take. And if nothing else, imagine the unity you create because now you're going in the shit with them. If you're asking them to give up their college weekends and time with their families, everything else, like, well, we got to do the same.
Yeah.
Like, because now they understand that we're in the same boat. Like, you're here too. You're here too on a fucking Friday night doing this with me. Like, okay, you could be out doing 1,000 other things. You're here with me doing this, and it's off season. You know what I mean? Imagine if a coach like said that, and even if the kids leave, they're better off.
Yeah.
Like they're still better off. They're better coaches. The players are still better. Imagine if we did that. That's a hard thing to do. I'm not saying it's, always feasible, but I'm saying imagine if that was the situation. Just pour everything into them, not just wait for the season to pour everything into them from October till April. And then, okay, they have 4 months to go fuck off. Imagine if you poured it in the summer when you have a longer runway to really develop. Because again, you have to define what development is.
The best university teams have the most guys sticking around in the summer, or at least drive it in from wherever to get a couple training sessions in a week or whatever it may be too, right? I know some sports you got to stay there all summer, but even for those that don't force you or mandate it per se, they still have the most guys driving it. Like our best years at Laurier, we had the best summer attendance as well. And I just can't believe it's a coincidence.
Yeah. And again, even if it's not feasible, because kids come home, it's like,
yeah,
being in an environment that's going to replicate the environment that you would be at school.
Yeah.
Right. Which I think we do a great job of. Cause like now, I think it's exciting for volleyball and for hockey because now you're in the room with your rivals, but now you're training partners.
Yeah.
Right. You're emulating that same competitive atmosphere, like with real work being done. So I think that's a huge thing. Right. So it cater the environment to facilitate high performance. You can't just say you're high performance and do recreational things. Right. High performance is high performance. It takes what it takes. It's not personal. It's like, this is going to require a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of discipline. It's going to hurt. It's going to be hard. There's going to be a lot of things you're not going to want to do. You're going to have to persevere through them. You're going to find out the truth of what you're actually made of and what direction you're going to go. That's what you have to do. But keep your finger on the pulse. If we do that as an organization for volleyball, Rapids could fucking be extremely dangerous again, which I think would be huge. And I think we have the coaches to do that. There might be some conversations, everything else like that, but a lot of, just kind of sharpen some of the rough edges. But I think as a whole, that we have the horses that can do that. I think it's just, can we do it together? Can every coach agree from every age group and every level? Like, hey, this is what we want to do for the organization. Here's what we think this should look like. Collaborate amongst yourselves and see what's feasible. And then go ahead and run that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just do a trial run, see what happens. They do a lot of open gyms, which is great. You have different coaches doing different things. You get a variety of coaches in there, which is a great start. But almost treat like your open gyms as if your team is coming back and treat like an off-season development.
Yeah.
Right. Like treat like a university practicing in the summer. Like they may practice once a week or twice a week. Do the same thing. Okay. Off-season practice now. We're in the gym twice a week as a team. Might see some new bodies coming in, but it's our team still.
Usually we would have like 2 summer runs a week. If you lived in the city, you had to be there. If you lived within it, like there's like a sliding scale. Like if you're an hour away, you got to be at 1 a week. If you're more than an hour away, you got to be at 1 or 2 a month, whatever it was. But like there was an expectation.
Yeah.
And the years that we really stuck to it, like we had some pretty good years. And like I said, I really don't think there's a coincidence because then you go into training camp and you don't feel like you're starting off from square zero.
Yeah.
Right. You already saw on square 1 or 2 because it's not, training camp's not like a new thing. It's just a continuation of everything we did off season, spring ball, and then throughout the summer.
Yeah. I think a sliding scale is great for varsity kids.
And it was fair, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And now, so that was based on distance, how you had to drive and stuff. like what you're saying about being in the summer, like all these kids live in this region.
Mhm.
So it's not even a factor.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, if you're a half hour within each direction.
yeah. If you could drive here in the fall and the winter to freaking play, you could drive here in the summer. It's not different.
Yeah.
And you'll have
easier.
enough teammates who can carpool, right?
I think first and foremost, coaches set up the environment
Yeah.
to facilitate that. And then number two, athletes have to make a decision. And then based on their decision, coach will make theirs. Right? It's like if you buy into what we're doing and you're all in, coaches will know. If you're
Yeah.
half-assing it, they'll also know.
And your actions will speak way louder than your words.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you have that structure where it's like a mandatory thing. Oh boy, because now you're going to see which ones find reasons not to.
Yeah.
And that'll also make your fall decisions a lot easier versus
Yeah.
wondering at tryouts, right? Like, oh, I wonder what they did all summer.
And then you won't have to deal with parents
Yeah.
chirping at you. Oh, why my kid this, why my kid that? Well, this is why.
Yeah. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think attendance is huge.
Yeah.
I think that our best teams had tremendous attendance, and the ones that didn't, well, that also is a reflection. We saw that too. It's ironic how attendance is like one of the prime metrics. Eh? Like,
Yeah. I know Aiden always says that. Shout out to Aiden. Like that's one of his big things. Like
huge,
every time we talk about the first thing to measure, he's like attendance.
massive.
Because without that, nothing else matters. The basic two things: show up, work hard. Like it's so simple, but it's so profound. Like everything else will probably fall into place.
Yeah, if you just do that, like
Show up, work hard.
yeah, if you do that as your base, like you're probably not going to miss by much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it doesn't have to be that complicated, but I think, you see the potential. You see the potential with it, reflecting on it. And again, there's still more volleyball to come in the coming days. I'll be heading out, but I'm just curious. I'm always like wondering like what that would look like if we actually like.
What would this look like if it were perfect?
Yeah.
That should always be the question in any situation. And then, okay, how close can we get to that?
Yeah.
And then you're going to realize, actually, we could get pretty close to that. Like,
It can.
it's actually not that, otherworldly to think we
Yeah.
can actually.
It would be a team effort. It would
Yeah.
be a team effort. Like coaches, we just have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Can we all sacrifice a little bit and get to the same mark here? You know what I mean? I think it's very possible. I think, like I said, the talent and nothing else, like you'll have more eyes on the region that are taking it seriously.
Yeah.
You'll have more kids staying in the sport at a high level, wanting to get to the high level. You might even make it easier to recruit from other clubs and take some of their best players.
Yeah.
Imagine the damage you could
Because
do
there
there.
are open borders. Yeah. You can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a ton of potential with that. And then of course, measure the right things, or at least close enough to the right things. And don't rush. Don't rush it. You know what I mean? Like focus on things that move the needle, knowing that you're putting hay in the barn that'll move these things better later. And don't just try to like rush the speed, power, everything else. It's like you have to actually have the engine to do those things.
Yeah. I want my kids to have more speed and power. Yes. I want your kids to have more speed and power too, but it's actually going to come from these other things.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. I want them to get faster. Trust me, I'm not.
Like, do you think I'm trying to make them slower and fatter and weaker? Like, fuck, man. It's like
They
so
gotta-
frustrating.
They gotta get faster and quicker, more powerful. Man.
You're like, no
It's
way.
like,
Really?
I wasn't thinking about that. I was talking about making them like sluggish and
I'm
slow.
trying to put them on stage and have them pose
Damn.
like bodybuilders. Like,
Damn,
freak.
I really was hoping to get them sluggish and slow today. That's crazy.
Tighter, weaker,
Yeah.
fatter, slower. That was my goal. That's what I wanted to do. Thanks for clearing that up for me.
Yeah.
A wise one.
I was really going the other way, but you swayed me.
Damn.
I really was gonna make it fat and slow, but you just swayed me on
Let's
that.
tighten them up. Let's make them slower, more tired. Let's try to get them in more pain too. That's a good idea. Like, it's
Oh my god, it's freaking crazy. Like I get it, it's all well intentioned, but parents sometimes support your kids, but stay out of the way. Please stay out of the way. Like let them come to realize their own potential. Let them find their way doing that.
Yeah.
And let them learn that professional conversations and what that looks like. And be prepared for the answer. Big boy questions, big boy answers.
Right.
I think it's a big one. But yeah, that was a whole volleyball episode.
That's good.
That was a whole volleyball episode. So, wow. All right. We'll wrap things up. Guys, we're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on YouTube. Again, like and subscribe. We need the subscribers. I know it sounds like, very needy, which I will be needy in this situation. Click the subscribe button, right? You'll get weekly rants, raves, revelations, awesome guests coming up. So make sure you guys tune in. Latest episodes always drop on Fridays. So always tune in on that stuff. Follow the Performance Matters podcast on Instagram. We always put clips, highlights, and reels. That way you get all the summaries on there. And of course, check out our Performance Center. Instagram is always the best training in the region of Niagara. If you yourself are looking to get involved, if you are a Rapids player or an NAVC volleyball player, the Rapids program starts on the volleyball program starts on June 1st. The deadline is May 29th, and spots are limited. I think there's only 10 spots left. So make sure if you guys are interested, hop on that. That'll kick off on June 1st. And if you yourself are a varsity athlete in post-secondary, whether it's college or university, there is still time to take advantage of our varsity offseason program. It's a very competitive room. We have athletes from all schools, all sports, getting after it on their own individual programs. So make sure, if you are interested, get in touch with our Performance Center, and those guys will set you up right. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you all next time.
Peace.